couple minutes introduce further on myself. I worked in IBM for 2 years. Started as an open source analytics solution architect. Mainly is dealing with the Hadoop and Spark open source portfolio. And then I think very important in the last 2 years we see machine learning as a new kids on the street. Then I get involved in some of the machine learning platform implementation and the product management. Mainly is trying to democratize machine learning with the platform to help enterprise customers to leverage the machine learning capability. This year I started working on blockchain because we cover a large portfolio on cloud. So mainly it's trying to provide blockchain as a service in a sense. What I know is that all the major competitors of IBM, such as Microsoft Azure, AWS, all start offering blockchain as a service, which I think is a good sign. It used to be just IBM as only key players in this space, and now you see all the major vendors moving into this, same as Google probably. Just in the last 2-3 months, AWS and Google entering this space. I also know that some of the key players, particularly for the audience in China, they also start using this large blockchain platform in like internet companies like Wang and like Alibaba or Tencent, or large enterprise vendors like Huawei and such. So my interest in AI and blockchain is how to, the two aspects of it. One is how to democratize it, meaning make the entry barrier lower for average people. Two is how to identify proper best practice in guiding customers, or particularly enterprise customers, to identify a proper use case and have a short path to reach the first success for that project. So that's my little bit of my background and my personal interest. Then I'll pass to Keith and can share more about yourself.
Sure, thank you. Good afternoon. Yes, my name is Keith Dummer. I currently run and being the managing partner of AEGEUS consulting. But I started my career in the Caribbean. I did my undergraduate studies in computer science and mathematics at the University of West Indies in Barbados, and did an MBA at Columbia University here in the US. But throughout my career, I worked in the financial industry and insurance, both in the Caribbean and here. I was the CEO of the Credit Card Corporation. I was in KISS for a couple of years, many years ago. I aged myself, I tell you exactly what that was. But here in the US, I worked with American Express, where I covered operational risk management for American Express globally on the both capital and loss prevention perspectives. And then at Citibank, I was the head of enterprise management, where I rolled out computational aspects of operational capital globally for the bank. So between Citi and JP Morgan, I obtained most of my international experience working in all of the continents except Australia. At JP Morgan, in my last corporate role, I was head of risk architecture through the crisis, and so we looked at things like computational nature for CCAR, GDPR, ECBS 239, I read that for the bank, etc. And then worked with JP Morgan, which worked with PwC to help Standard Chartered Bank and a few other banks that were referred to as GSIBs to implement such things to get themselves going in the right direction. While at PwC, I had an opportunity to get engaged with blockchain, so back in 2016, for a client of ours there, where we did an evaluation of the blockchain infrastructure types, and what would be best for them for the use case that we were looking at. And that was my first introduction into it. So I'm probably about 2 years into this now. And a lot of what we're looking at right now, a lot of what I look at we're trying to launch new platforms for people who are trying to move a brick and mortar existing process onto a new platform, all the issues that are associated with that. And AI has, I think, a role to play, but there's a lot of improvement that will be needed, and a lot of the guardrails that we need to put in place around that. So a few things that I would like to see from a decision perspective is, how can we make AI or help enable AI to be more sensitive to what I call the human issues that it creates when it doesn't understand certain nuances in the way in which it captures information and the way in which it's learning as we move along. And I think blockchain infrastructure can help with some of that. So we'll talk about it a little bit more.
Hello, my name is Adam Luciano. So I have started my career in the finance world, and worked in investments as a commodity trader, and then moved over into the actual health insurance industry, where I got more into like the product management, product development side, and then more recently working in advertising in the insurance industry, primarily with like large data sets with Facebook and Google. And additionally, working on data science models with trying to figure out how to model the contribution of marketing to our insurance advertising in the digital space. From a blockchain perspective, I got involved in the Bitcoin world in 2012, where you had to open up, I don't know if you guys were, or some of you guys were involved in that time, but you opened an account like a company called Delala and moved money through Kansas and moved to Japan and now Cox. So I was one of those people doing that kind of stuff. Well, I never lost anything, thank goodness. I actually did some good security practices. So that was good. So anyway, so I got more and more, and it was just like drinking from a fire hose, but it was just such an exciting place, space. I got so trapped into it, was technically minded, and I just loved the whole idea of it. So built into the space, and also now I work for a company called Verify, basically the digital identity side, and basically help architect their blockchain solution, wrote parts of the white paper, and just describe how we're going to move forward with that. It's a very squirrely problem in the blockchain world if you guys have exposure to digital identity. The basic idea is that we want the actual identity owner to have access to their data, to be able to give permission to utilize it, or as opposed to the companies like Facebook utilizing it and then profiting on it. And then a little more recently, I've worked with a company you're going to hear a little bit on SCTC, on the technical team. What I would love to see, I think, from this discussion is just part of an education of the audience on how, and also have a discussion around how AI could be further leveraged. So in the blockchain world, I think I see significant opportunities for that to occur. There's some really cool projects in the space right now that I'm going to share with you guys a little bit about. And I'm actually involved with one of those other ones as well, called Numerai. If you guys have heard of that, it's basically like a crowdsourced stock trading type competition where you build data science models on it. It utilizes a form of encryption called homomorphic encryption, which basically shields it from us knowing what the actual data is. And then you can kind of use some money on it in their own cryptocurrency. So pretty good stuff. Excited to see where the space goes and look forward to discussion.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Boli Wang, and I'm probably the only one from China, Beijing. I traveled all the way here today in this panel. Yes.
You're a little tired.
Yes, a little.
Just a little jet lag.
So personally, I started my career in Barclays Capital in New York. So for anyone who doesn't know that company, so it's actually Lehman Brothers. So after it's bankrupt, it's taken over by Barclays, the same office in New York. And back there, I was actually in a hybrid structure, sitting with this sales and trading team. And my responsibility was pricing all the exotic derivatives and develop quantitative investment strategies, especially in the commodities field. Yes. So I guess this time a lot of us are having finance backgrounds somehow. Yes, and after that I moved back to China, started our own ventures so-called BHex. So our company has a crypto exchange, and actually it's much more than that. So the start is this. So currently there are two kinds of models for crypto trading platforms. One is centralized, one is decentralized. And for centralized exchanges, the problem is for the transparency and security. So any centralized exchange, they can fake create some token in their platform and then sell it and to push down the price and buy it back at a lower price and profit from this so-called shorting. And then nobody regulates this because it's just no regulation. SEC, FINRA, whatever doesn't regulate this. So that's the issue of centralized exchange. And on the other hand, the decentralized exchange, they're suffering from low transaction per second. So it's not really a real world application yet. And our solution wants to solve these problems all at once. On the very bottom layer, we have a decentralized asset custody and clearing platform and technology. And using this technology, it's run by a DAO, decentralized autonomous organization. So transparency and security are solved by this layer. And on top of that, we connect more exchanges and virtual brokers and other applications, for example, asset management firms. All the people or institutions, they put money on the decentralized DAO. So on the second layer, we can do centralized matching engine. And this guarantees that performance is comparable to that of a centralized exchange. Yeah, I guess too much for our own business, but that's essentially what we do. And we are also here in North America trying to connect more local partners and institutions. So if you guys are interested, we can talk later. But today is like about AI meets blockchain. So enough for my background. And then I guess it's from my side, when I used to be in Barclays, I see a lot of demands for blockchain because believe it or not, more than 5% of the equity derivatives settlements are just manual corrections. I don't know why this is happening, but this just happens, at least in Barclays. And I also know like probably in JP Morgan it's the same. So if we can put this data, increase the data integrity with this new, whatever called blockchain technology, probably this can be solved later. And I guess I did a lot of like so-called AI works, but I won't call myself an AI person because I'm not with a PhD degree in like computer vision or whatever, GA and all these kind of fancy technology. But back then, when I developed all the quantitative investment strategies, I still have a lot of statistical learning or machine learning. And with the research, so-called research or the strategy development, I can see data is very important. So if you don't have good data, everything else doesn't make any sense. Although you can come up with conclusions, that's fake conclusions. So with this new technology, probably we have better data integrity and all the associated other preparation to save our time and also cost. So that's my takeaway, and I guess we can discuss this later.
Good, thank you.
Welcome. It's a pleasure to be on a panel with such a phenomenal talent and experience. I'm the one that's not in the financial industry, so maybe we'll bring some variance in the backgrounds. Firstly, a discussion of your solution to decentralized exchange is relevant because any of the hacks that occurred have been centralized exchanges, and it's not on the blockchain itself. So I think it's a lesson and a reminder that a decentralized exchange is where we need to go and facilitate the security posture of our systems. My background, actually, I started in music, it's true, and I switched to computer science at Illinois, and after finishing my PhD, I was a professor there for a couple of years, and then I went to DOT, where I didn't think I'd be, for 7 years, and I was an application systems architect. And in that space, I did a lot of proof of concepts and worked with Hadoop, HDFS, AI, MapReduce, and taking the top secret space of analyzing data that, so I understand AI and machine learning. It wasn't, I don't have a PhD in AI, but as you articulated very well, we all understand the importance of having authoritative data so that we don't have noise. And the way that we have to process that data to make sense of it, and the blockchain is supposed to create an ecosystem where information sharing, move away from stovepipes, which really itself, the term stovepipe came from the DoD, came from the US government. One of the places anyway, where all these systems were disparate and there was no communication. That's where SOA came from. So I spent 7 years there. Then I went to Elsevier, and I was a senior infrastructure architect, and I spent a year with a $126 million portfolio, moving them from a private cloud provider to AWS. And that, I learned a lot. I learned a lot in that space about infrastructure and architecture, and security, and so on. And then, long story short, I had to verify, as Adam articulated, that we deal with digital identity, which you know, digital identity is an important attribute, characteristic, a way of tying blockchain transactions to a person. Without that, who's doing what, when, where, now? More recently, I've been doing some work with SETC on the technology team with Adam, and really excited about the application of AI in that ecosystem, in the vehicular or the automotive industry, amongst other things. So I think we should get started.
Very good. Thank you very much. I think we have a good list of panelists here with a very rich experience, both from enterprise, industry, consumer market perspective. The next question, maybe I can start off myself. I want to talk a little bit about further on where we see the opportunities in the particular, say, space you are in today. In a broader sense, not necessarily just as our own use case, but also your industry, maybe, or your observation, where the opportunities are in the next 2 to 3 years. What are the challenges? I'll start with myself. My observation or understanding the current state of blockchain plus AI. I think it's a blockchain conference, but probably blockchain is the main topic, but everybody can add a little bit on with AI topic. I think there's 2 markets, right? One is consumer market, one is enterprise market. One is to B, one is to C. They're very much different in my view. In enterprise, what I have seen that many enterprises are in the very early stage in understanding what blockchain can do for them. That's one part of it. Not just from the technology perspective, the benefit of decentralization, secure, scalability, trust, but also in how to get a good business benefit for the company. I know that in financial market, my understanding is you could possibly, particularly for risk management, right? How there's an opportunity to manage the audit trails of all transactions, and also for asset exchange or even asset management perspective to do that. I also had some observation on certain the other industry like healthcare. Also, it's a big market, but the use case over there, one thing I see is how do you facilitate or improve the efficiency for, like, for example, insurance claims payment. Just shorten the time to get a payment done is a huge benefit for the company or insurers. So I'll pass along to you guys to talk about further on building opportunities and the step from here to next, and then the challenges moving forward towards it.
I'll start. So I think from the opportunity perspective, I talk about digital identity, and I talk about, I think something also interesting in this close to everything we see every day, which is the marketing side of the business. Perhaps a little bit more on the blockchain side than necessarily the AI side of marketing. But, so on the digital identity side, currently, we basically have the data basically is in silos. And something that blockchain can really help do is basically help level that. They make them basically connect to each other. So the basic idea is, for example, you have a Facebook account, but your Facebook account doesn't necessarily talk to your eBay account. Your eBay account doesn't necessarily talk to your Gmail account. So is there a way for that basic level of information and data to be connected in such a way where it's also relatively secure? So there's some interesting technologies that are out there, even leveraging something called zero-knowledge photography or zero-knowledge groups you might have heard about, something called Zcash. But basically some of that stuff is basically able to kind of hide data, but be able to basically prove that that data is real, in so many words. So that type of technology can be also leveraged in the AI world, also in the marketing world. Because what that basically does is you could have data in a specific place, not actually have to transfer it, which therefore would increase the security of it. So there's some interesting application there, specifically on the digital identity side. Where I think on the marketing side, I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but there's a lot of fraud that occurs, specifically in buying advertising from different types of exchanges out there. So blockchain, a lot of different projects that have been developed in that area, basically to be able to create an audit trail of bidding as well as actually blocking advertising. From the perspective of where artificial intelligence can intersects here, I think a big part of that is around the utilization of blockchain the utilization of artificial intelligence for the effective, I'm trying to the best way to describe this, but basic silos that you see, it was referred to in the data world. What I think some of the benefits are is that blockchain itself, some of its issues, some of its challenges like scalability, which is the current problem right now, and transaction fees, which I think could be somewhat prohibitive in the workplaces. And I think some of those things, once traversed, AI could be really, very interesting. Because what it could allow you to do is, since there's this treasure trove of data, which is now basically in one place, and also with different types of tech where you actually perhaps run artificial intelligence on data you don't even see, where you're using things like homomorphic encryption to basically change it so you don't actually know what it is. That's where I think there would be a lot of intersections around both value being created by blockchain and being AI, having AI which is created to both sides. I think some of the other challenges around how computation is done in a verifiable way, something else is a problem. So you guys have heard about something called Intel SGX, which is basically a way to kind of secure, basically you kind of compute data in enclave, if you will. And is kind of built mechanisms around to make it secure. But if you've heard, there's actually been some exploits that have been done from an academic perspective that caused some issues kind of rising in the community. You can trust the difference, all kind of from Intel and so forth. But there's a lot of different things I think need to be complete for us to really leverage AI and to trust everything that goes into it and comes out of it. I think blockchain, to kind of sum this up, I think blockchain can really help right now in a lot of how we kind of catalog it. And I think in the future we'll have some of the more better technology to be able to make sure that AI can actually run computation, fit data, or fit models onto some of that data. So there's definitely an upbound, very large trajectory going up, I think, and over the next couple of years, both of them will be accretive.
So if I can extend a little bit on what you're talking about from the digital identity perspective, I recognize that we're not 100% or maybe even 90% happy with the accuracy of what that can mean, right? But we could leverage what is available today and move that information, for example, on yourself, into what I call the branching arena. So now I know your name is David, you know, your wife, your kids, and your social network based on what you pull together. And I can move that into the bank, associate your social security number with it, and very quickly tell everything that's related to you. One of the biggest issues that the banks had in the crisis is that they did not know the level of deposits and investments that a particular individual had within the bank versus mortgages. Credit card information is a little bit better, you can associate that, but definitely not a mortgage portfolio. And lots of banks have high net worth individuals defaulting on their third and fourth homes, and that's what sort of helped to push the top over and the burden to come down. So with this level of information now within the bank, I can see a full 360 view on you. I can run a credit profile on you very quickly, and I have a better understanding of the exposure I have against an individual, a family, depth of pocket expense, and I can also then start to predict next best services and products to sell to you. So using AI, I can do most of that stuff with some high level of accuracy and comfort to get that done. Because at the end of the day, I still have a human, should I say, making the last step for me, right? Blockchain helps with that because today we have quite a few applications doing brokerage type activities for us, investment option suggestions for us, and you also having connectivity end-to-end on the transaction. So when we tie those pieces together within the financial world, we're moving the banks from point A, 60, 70 miles down the road. I can see this just getting better and better over time and improving the way you get service from the bank, but more importantly, improving the product mix that you get from your main banking environment.
Those are all great points. Let's take a step back and realize that with digital identity and data, without data, you have no AI. And the data should have to be authoritative. So let's assume the data is secure using ChainDB, almost a blockchain infrastructure itself, which will make sure that it's uses something like Tendermint, which will allow it to agree on what the data state is. And the banks should leverage all this information and you tie it to like a verified digital identity. But you still, and even if you use homomorphic encryption and use zero-knowledge proofs for the banks to use that as well, so you can abstract out the details where the users should own and control their data. Let's not forget about the fact that the whole reason this blockchain thing is happening is to remove the third person. I'm not saying the banks, I'm saying let me, the single individual, own and control my data and share it with the banks. And so this data that we're talking about that would be processed for AI needs to be aggregated because for machine learning to occur, we need very large data sets. My single identity would facilitate, if you go out now, and if I was in Pennsylvania, you were in China yesterday, if you take your bank card and you go across the street and buy me a drink, a lemonade, is your bank going to say, is that really you? Because you were just in China, did you inform your bank that you're going to be here today? So in that context, AI does play a role. It's a subset of the IPS, intrusion prevention and detection systems, is of course AI. My issue, and what I want to bring to the panel here, is that we assume that we have a data set that is safe and secure and valid, full authoritative. How do we aggregate that data so that it can be useful in large data sets? That's something that a Watson cloud architect would be able to maybe talk about.
I guess given the time limit, I will just a few words, because from my side it's actually saying data integrity and also the cost of the data, because think of this, if we are doing like computer vision, you want to label something, what's the cost of label, right? Previously it was like, data is always more expensive than people, that's my understanding. So with AI and blockchain, I guess the cost of the data will also be lower and data integrity will be like higher. So I guess that's my takeaway.
Good. Okay, I think we are running out of time, but we can take one question here.
Hi, Dennis O'Neill Capital Advisors. I'm trying to understand what's driving what. Is the adoption of blockchain driving the adoption of AI onto blockchain, or is that AI deployed out there and then it's driving blockchain to be bolted onto it.
Let's repeat the question. Yeah, the question is whether AI is more as a driving factor for blockchain or blockchain can drive AI in the current state. Which one will go first? I mean, wow, you guys can answer. No,
Or maybe convergence, you know.
I think the convergence is coming across because of the issue with data. Right? Blockchain came about because of the crisis situation and the development from that. AI is coming across because we have a lot of data issues, and a lot of the data issues are created by humans in the first place. So if we try to eliminate some of those earlier aspects, AI can have to improve on some of that. But it's also faster, cheaper, and a much more efficient way of processing that data. And we have tons and tons more data that we're looking at right now. So the capacity of data that we have to process is getting way beyond what we can expect humans to deal with in a reasonable time for decision making.
So is blockchain driving AI or is AI driving blockchain?
Data is driving AI, data is driving issues in blockchain.
Okay.
I think it's the data.
The Big Short was the movie, right? Your question begs the issue of the blockchain is removing the middle person, the middleman, right?
Sure.
Facebook makes about $42 billion a year on data. Now, what is it, $20 a person is what they value the data at. We want verified people to own and control their data, even though we're talking about very large data sets here that we need to make reasonable, conclusions. I think people want to now are incentivized to actually own and control their data, which means that I should be able to take my data and sell it for something because it's useful to me, and I shouldn't be able to sell this once. Shouldn't be getting nothing for it. If Facebook's making $42 billion, clearly actually making something. So how do you create that infrastructure to be able to facilitate the selling and sharing of that information? That's what blockchain does. Blockchain is the ecosystem that allows us to disperse, to share, to create an environment where we can essentially get money, get compensation for something that we really haven't had our eye on before. We haven't really, some people say that, your data at Google. It's not just that you're getting emails, it's that they know what you want to buy. You're seeing AdSense, right? AdSense was here before. No, it's not just that Facebook is, you're getting pregnancy tests at Amazon before you have announced to anyone that maybe you're pregnant or that you've even done something to warrant that kind of test. They're doing heavy analytics in your data. I think owning your data is important, and the only infrastructure to allow that ecosystem is blockchain.